The call of the Hogs can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
You're listening to Pod at the Palace with Curtis Wilkerson on Inside Arkansas.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday, and welcome back to the Pod at the Palace. I'm your host, Curtis Wilkerson with Inside Arkansas. Today's episode is presented by Razorback Apparel. Just go to razorbacks.com and use code HOGSBY20 for 20% off your first purchase today. HOGSBY20, 20% off that first purchase. Now's a good time to go over there and get geared up for football season. Listen, I wonder how everybody's going to be feeling a week from right now. Waking up knowing that you've got just one more day of work that you got to get through before the college football season starts for the Razorbacks. People are getting excited. We're almost there, folks. I feel pretty good knowing I just got one more sleep before I get to watch college football, period. I'm geared up for Saturday, man. But, you know, Andrew Ellis and I last night, we kind of took stock of all the football position groups here, you know, ahead of game week, post-camp. Talked about position battles, dropped our 2-deep depth chart projections, all that. It was a fun show. Appreciate everybody who tuned in with us. We're going to be going live pretty much every Thursday during the season for some various different things there. But I'm going to do something fairly similar here with basketball today for the first segment of the show. And then we're going to wrap with some odds and ends. We're going to talk Tay Kinney, some news and notes, all those things. So fun show for you today. Looking forward to it. And let's jump into it right after we talk about today's sponsor. You guys know the drill. It's our friends over at Walter Christmas Lighting. Yes, Christmas is long away, but this is a diverse operation that we got going on over here with Walter Christmas Lighting. They'll take care of your Halloween too. You know, a lot of people, they want to get in the spirit. They are in the spirit, but they don't have the time or the resources to decorate, to light up your house, to wow the neighborhood. Luckily for you, Walter Christmas Lighting has you covered this fall and winter. If you're in Northwest Arkansas or the River Valley, have Walter Christmas Lighting come out, install, and set up your house with professional Halloween and Christmas lighting like you've never seen before. They take care of the materials, any color, any pattern. They take care of the installation. They take care of the maintenance, and they come and take it all down come January. If you sign up for Halloween lights, and now's the time to do it, folks. We're almost to September. It's crazy how quickly it's creeping up on us. But if you sign up for the Halloween lights, you'll get your Christmas lights for 50% off. Text our guy Brett for a free estimate, 479-459-1380. You can also check out their website at walterchristmaslighting.com or like them on Facebook by scanning the QR code on your screen. It's Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas, your local holiday lighting experts. All right, let's jump in here and, have a little bit of fun with this. What I want to do, I'm going to go position by position here, and let's just kind of establish the pecking order based on everything that we learned from the summer. We're going to set the stock for each position based on how we felt pre-summer versus how we feel right now, and then argue out any, big questions, position battles, minute crunch conversations, whatever. Sound good? I hope so, because that's what we're doing. Okay, we'll start with point guard here, and it's for the stock that I'm taking in this position post-summer. I've got it holding steady. I didn't hear anything, in way of Darius Acuff and DJ Wagner there where I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe this experiment's not going to go so well. And I also didn't hear anything that surprised me in terms of either one of those guys being just head and shoulders above and beyond what you thought that they would be. Now, don't mistake what I'm saying here, because people are very, very excited about Darius Acuff. I was too. I was expecting that coming into it. So it hasn't moved my needle necessarily. DJ Wagner, from all accounts, has had a very, very productive summer and has really come along with his jumper. Great. I hope that's the case. I want to see it translate in the game. So where I've heard positive reviews, don't mistake me for not having heard those things, but based on what I expected, it was nothing for me to go, oh yeah, boy, things are trending up here. I was already really high on this particular spot. The likely starter I have is Darius Acuff. I don't think that that's a surprise to anyone. DJ Wagner, I think, is next up in terms of minutes at the position. And you know that if needed, break glass in case of emergency, or if that's just what John Calipari likes to do sometimes, Billy Richmond is there. Downhill Bill, point guard Bill, whatever you want to call him. Hey, and honestly, I thought he did a decent enough job of facilitating the offense or initiating it at times when he had to last year, getting the team into their sets or whatever. It's just eliminating those silly turnovers that he had as a freshman. And if he does that, then sure, man, play all the minutes you want there. The biggest questions that I have at the point guard position, one, who is going to step up into the role of facilitator or initiator? We kind of talked about this yesterday with the Darius Acuff SEC Freshman of the Year stocks, right? It's like, okay, pretty sure that he's going to be able to score. He's going to be able to create his own offense. Can he do that for others? And at the practice we were at, and based on some of the things I was told, he certainly can. But is he going to be able to find that balance as a true freshman of getting everyone else involved and making sure they still gets his? That's a challenge for young guys. And does it have to be him? I think would be the other question there, because DJ Wagner sure did look better with the ball in his hands. Could he be a guy that takes on that facilitator role and they put Darius Acuff into more of a scoring and go get yours? It's going to be very fascinating, I think, to see how that all plays out. Are there enough three-pointers at this position to keep defenses honest? We know the drill with DJ. Hopefully it improves. Was last year enough to keep defenses honest? I don't know. For a while it was. I mean, he shot 40% in non-conference play, but then it dropped on him. So can he maintain that consistency throughout the course of a full season, just to the point to where you can't sag off of him? He's not an easy help off guy. He's not the go under ball screens guy that mucks everything up for you in the lane, right? And then with Acuff, for me, it's okay. Can you get back to junior year of high school levels of 3-point production when you shot well over 35% on 6-7 attempts per game in high school and on the EYBL, versus like the sub 30% that you had as a senior when you were more of a focal point and, more of a volume shot taking option? We'll see. And then the last thing here, what will the Acuff Wagner split be at point guard? It kind of goes into everything that we just talked about there, but what is it going to look like? Is it going to be 30-10 minutes wise for Acuff? Is it going to be 25-15? Is it going to be a 20-20? I wonder. And some of that's going to depend on how well those guys shoot. Some of it's going to depend on how quickly Darius Acuff comes around as a true point guard type of option, an offensive facilitator. Is he a guy that's making his teammates around him better, or is he someone who's better served to help the team by being a scorer? So, we'll find out what it looks like. On to the 2 guard, the off guard, the shooting guard, whatever you want to call it. Position stock, I've got it trending up, man. I really do. And I'll tell you why in just a second. Now, likely starter here, I've got DJ Wagner. Like I really do believe that Arkansas is going to start Darius Acuff and DJ Wagner together. Just seems like Acuff is primed to be in that position. DJ has started basically every game for 2 years under Cal. I don't know why that would change now. Next up, I've got Malik Thomas. And you want to know why my stock bars are up there? It's because my stock on Malik Thomas is very high. And I've always been a believer. You guys know that from some of our conversations that we've had here on this very show. But what I'll say about Malik Thomas is he is taller, longer, with broader shoulders and bigger calves than I thought. I think he's more suited physically to be a big contributor in the SEC right away than I initially believed before he got on campus. That's one of the biggest takeaways that I had from the summer, is that, he's bigger and more put together than I thought he was. Now he's got some things he's got to work on, right? Cal talked about him being more efficient with his dribbles and, getting straight into his shot. He's a little bit better off the bounce now than off the catch. Defense, schemes, playbook, sure, all those things that you're going to have with any freshman. But in terms of being, I think, strong enough, long enough, athletic enough, all that is there at a higher level than I thought it was. If needed, you could play a lot of guys at this position. I put Carter Knox there. He could play the 2 if he needed to, just like he could play the 4 if he needed to. Billy could play, an off-ball guard role. That's fine. Isaiah Sealy could do it. You've got a lot of options there. I just listed one, so I would say don't read too much into that. My biggest questions here at the 2, the biggest one, this might be the biggest question for the team, honestly. Will the Darius Acuff and DJ Wagner sharing the floor experience go smoother than the Boogie Fland and DJ Wagner experience did? And why was that the case? Why was it so sluggish? Why was it so clunky offensively at the start of last year? Could it have been just all the new guys learning how to play together? Sure. Could it have been the lack of practice time that they had together before the season? Sure. Could it have been Jonas Adu being hurt and Nelly not being right and just having to really kind of figure some things out on the fly? Absolutely. It doesn't have to be that the buck stopped with Boogie and DJ, but it was a question going into the season. And then it was, kind of gross up until Boogie was no longer in the lineup and you slid DJ onto the ball and you moved Nelly out of the corner, and all of a sudden Arkansas is way better offensively. So is it coincidence? Maybe. Was it a DJ problem or a Boogie problem? Argue it out however you want to, but the Darius Acuff, DJ Wagner dynamic in the backcourt is going to be a big determining factor on just what the ceiling is for this team. And then the second part, can Malik Thomas be the sniper that Arkansas needs? Talking about a guy that shot nearly 40% on like 9 attempts per game in high school. And we just kind of spoke on, well, is he more of an off the dribble pull-up guy? Yeah, he is, because he's kind of an ISO player and a shot creator and a tough shot maker. And that's all great because you need that. But can he be the guy who, hey, things collapse, we kick it out to the corner and you catch and shoot and you're a knockdown rhythm player? Because Arkansas really does need that. And I think he's got just about the best profile to give you some good volume there from 3 this year and kind of maybe replace the volume that you lost with Nelly Davis. Moving over to the wing. My position stock is very much up on the wing. And I probably felt the best about this position coming into summer practices and everything. But as we transition to full practice here in the fall, I'm really high on what Arkansas's got going on the wing. Carter Knox, I have as the likely starter. I think that makes sense. And I'm encouraged by his summer. Sounds like he really turned things on late. And then he's gone to some of these, elite camps and skills academies and all that. I think he's primed to take that jump now. Billy Richmond next up. Love all the reports that we've received on Billy Richmond throughout the course of the summer. Lived in the gym, working hard on that jumper, starting to see some of the fruits of the labor. That's exactly what you want to hear. And he looked bigger, he looked stronger, and he looked like a pretty clearly better basketball player to me in the 75, 90 minutes that we were able to sit in there and watch him in person. So that's good. If needed, I love this because you weren't really sure exactly what it was going to shake out to be, but you guys know how I feel about Isaiah Sealy. I think he's ahead of where they thought he was. Coach Cal has said as much. Yeah, he's got some things he's got to work on just like everybody else, but I do think that Isaiah Sealy is a guy that can very comfortably contribute to this team. If you have foul trouble, if you have an injury or a sickness and a guy has to miss a game or two, he's somebody that you can slot in and play and he can help you. He's really good with the ball in his hands, handles it well. He can knock down 3-pointers, which is an area that Arkansas is going to need some help at. And he just looked like a guy who absolutely belonged out there on the floor. So that 3-man crew of Knox, Richmond, and Sealy, I feel really confident in. My biggest questions for him, is Knox ready for the alpha mode? Right? Because he was kind of that guy throughout his high school career at overtime elite. And then he really settled into a complimentary piece at Arkansas as a freshman. Is he ready to be the dude, the man, the guy on a really good basketball team? Some of his NCAA tournament appearances suggest that might be the case. And I hope so, because if he becomes an all SEC caliber player, a first round draft pick type of guy, Arkansas is cooking in hot grease. Are you going to be able to find Billy Richmond enough minutes? Because we just kind of talked about the situation at the 1 and the 2 with it's kind of like a 3 guys for 2 spots for the most part. We're sitting here talking about Carter Knox being a guy that you think is really going to take off there. So Billy Richmond's he might be one of the most improved players on the team. So you got to find some room for what are you going to do? You're going to play small ball? Are you going to play him more at the 1 than maybe we're anticipating? Are you going to play Carter more at a different position? What's that going to look like? Because I do think, Billy played 17 minutes a game or something last year. He's going to play more than that this year, and you got to find it. There's only so many to go around, and I'm going to be anxious to see what that winds up looking like for this Razorback team, because there are times where, Billy kind of drove us nuts. And we're like, all right, they kind of got to get him out of there. The game's just moving too fast for him. There are other times where you were thinking, we can't take this dude off the floor. Cal, what are you doing? I understand he's in full body cramps. Keep him out there, man. Come on. Next thing is Isaiah Sealy a great problem to have? And what I mean by that is we're just kind of talking about, can we find enough minutes for a guy like Billy? Is Isaiah Sealy going to make this complicated to the point where you have to find him minutes too? I hope he does. I don't think he's going to be a guy that's, commanding 25 minutes a game or anything as a true freshman, but I do think he's good enough and he brings some skills to the table that you need enough to where they're probably going to be looking for ways to try to get him in there. And sometimes this works itself out. throughout the course of the year, like we said, people are going to be hurt. There's going to be some foul trouble here and there, and then it happens organically. But over the course of the season, when you get into big games, SEC play down the stretch of the year, is he going to be a guy that's done enough to where you're like, okay, we need to get him a little bit of run here? I hope so. I think it'd be a great problem to have. Moving on to the 4, you notice I only have the stock going up once. I had stock up 3 times on some of these other positions. I just got it once here. And if I would fill this entire screen with the stock rising based on Trevin Brazil alone. And we talk so much about TB and, the muscle mass that he's put on, the confidence that he's playing with, how he's evolved with the ball in his hands, shooting it, playing more physical, defending on the perimeter. I don't have to go into the whole spiel again. He looks like the best version of Trevin Brazil that I have seen. And I've been watching him for 6-7 years now. Yeah, it's got to translate over. Yeah, he's got to stay healthy. Yeah, he's got to stay solid between the ears. All those things are true. But boy, he looks like an all SEC player for real this time. It's not the idea of what he could be. It's what we saw of him at that practice and the strides that he has made, the things that we thought, man, if he could just develop that, he could be special. No, he's got it now. And it's just carrying it over to a game. So I'm pumped about TB. The reason I've only got the stock pointing up once there is because I'm trying to figure out what this looks like behind him still. Notice I didn't even put a name for next up because I do think it's matchup dependent. What do I mean by that? Well, how much small ball is Arkansas going to play? If we're talking about making sure all the wings have enough minutes, are you going to do some 4-guard stuff? Which you can do with guys like Carter and Billy and Isaiah Sealy. I'm not saying all of them can play at the 4, but that's, 3 guys who are 6'6", 6'7", long, athletic guys. You see a lot of teams do that. So that could factor in to the minutes behind TB at the 4. Can you do the Twin Towers thing in the front court? We've mentioned that a little bit too. I feel better about it because I think Nick Pringle is a good enough, versatile enough defender to guard the 4 in most cases. I think Malik Ewan is a good enough offensive player, especially if he's knocking down jumpers, to play the 4 offensively. So maybe those 2 could play together a little bit if you need them to. And it's a way to get, those guys more minutes. And then is Paolo Samito ready to contribute? I'm excited about him. I know that the staff likes him. And the question for me is, you missed the entire summer and now you're here late and you're going to do some things that are impressive. And people are going to see the 7'1" guy that can put it on the floor and knock down jumpers and runs like a deer and is super athletic. And you'll be enamored with it. But how quickly can he make up ground in the weight room with the strength and conditioning? And then how quickly can he get comfortable in an SEC system and playbook and schemes and understanding what they're trying to do out there? That's going to be the question. The quicker that, the sooner that clicks, the sooner he's going to start playing a significant role. But we just don't have the answer to that just yet. Then at the center spot, position stock, I got 2 stocks going up here. The likely starter, I still have Malik Ewan. Nick Pringle I have coming off the bench. Trevin, if he's your 3rd big man or whatever, that's great. Will the Bosnian bulldozer factor into this at some point once he gets here? Maybe. I don't think so as a true freshman, but you never know. My biggest questions, is this the real position battle on the team? Could Nick, I think we just assume Malik Ewan's going to start, and I think he should. I think they're going to be able to play through him. He's a bucket. I love it. But Nick Pringle's also the veteran guy, 4th year in the SEC, a lot of experience, got those leadership qualities to him. It wouldn't be crazy if he was the one. So I'm going to be anxious to see. And then again, can Ewan and Pringle play together? The jury's still kind of out on that, but just discuss it. Don't have to go too far into it from here. And there you have it. What do you guys think? You have any other questions? I'd be interested to see about some of these positions, what it looks like, any ideas for the minutes distribution and all that stuff. Let me know. Good times. We'll probably do this again after we see another practice or an exhibition or whatever before we get into the season. But always like to do these little updates from time to time. Hey, folks, today's episode of the Pot at the Palace is presented by our friends at BetSaracen, Arkansas's #1 sports betting app. If you're not signed up yet, I don't know what you're doing, but if you do fall under this category, sign up today. Promo code BOOSTED, and you will get a 100% profit boost to use on a bet of your choosing. Betting odds must be plus 5,000 or shorter, so plus 1,500, plus 100, whatever. Any type of bet is fair game. Pre-match, in play, single game, parlays, any sport, any league, any event. This doesn't have to be Arkansas Razorback specific. New players only are eligible for this deal, and there's a $25 max wager. Again, just use code BOOSTED, that's BOOSTED, for a 100% profit boost on the app today. Guys, tomorrow's literally the day. As a Matt Campbell believer, I am loving Iowa State money line at plus 140 against Kansas State in Dublin. I will probably wager a fair amount on that, but I'm already a player, so I'm not eligible here. It's crazy. But hey, get to winning big money this season. Download BetSaracen on your iPhone or on your Android. You can also bet online at BetSaracen.com. It's BetSaracen, Arkansas's #1 sports betting app. And final call here, literally, for a fun day on the golf course for a good cause. Monday is the day. Every drive, every putt, every high five, it helps support the Ronald McDonald House Charities of Arkansas and North Louisiana, providing some comfort and care to families with ill or injured children. This is more than a golf tournament. It's a chance to make a real difference. This year, Monday, after this weekend, they are playing at Little Rock at Pleasant Valley Country Club, Rogers at Pinnacle Country Club. So pick your location and sign up now. Literally now. If you haven't done it yet and you want to, this is the time to do it because the spots are filling up fast and it's just a couple days away. Breakfast and lunch are going to be served out there at the event. Just sign up. rmhcarkansas.org/events today. Proceeds from the tournament in Rogers support the Ronald McDonald House and the Ronald McDonald Family Room in Northwest Arkansas. Okay. Moving on. So yesterday we had 2026 wing Abdu Torre. He trimmed his list down to a final 7. And we just dove into the latest with him. We trimmed that list down a little bit more based on some of the intel that we have. And for what it's worth, I've since been told that all of Torre's visits are on the books. They are scheduled and they should be announced here soon. Confirmed that Arkansas is one of them. That's not groundbreaking news. We've known this, but good to hear. And I'm also told that he is, as of now, expected to commit during the early signing period in November. So that means 1, all of his visits will happen soon. 2, he's going to make his announcement early. And that's good to hear because, you know, some of these guys, given the things we've talked about with rev share and allocation of funds and all that, you're going to have freshmen waiting into portal season and doing the Nate Mint thing. Now, I don't like that. I'm not crazy about it. And from the sounds of it, Abdu Torre is not going to be one who does that. So that's good. UConn remains cool here on him. And I do think it's cool to watch to see what happens. They like him. And I think he's probably a take there, but it sounds like their bidding wars are going on elsewhere. So take that for whatever it's worth. But we also had another list cut on Thursday as 2026 point guard target, who we've talked about quite a bit here. Tay Kinney trimmed his list down from a final 12 to 8. Okay. That final 8, it's Arkansas, Indiana, Louisville, Kansas, Texas, Oregon, Kentucky, and Miami. Okay. This is a little bit of a hollow list. It feels like, to be honest, because a lot of the discussion has been that Kinney is kind of expected to have his decision made here by the end of the month. But he doesn't plan on announcing until he does his full visit tour. That kind of strikes me as a bag chase, but you never know. Maybe he's just staying open-minded and wants to see all of his options. And, you know, we know that things change quickly in recruiting and it evolves. It's fluid, whatever you want to call it. So speaking of bags, though, Adidas is making a push to sign him into his college basketball playing days, which means if they do, he would almost certainly go to an Adidas school. And I think that's the thing, if you're a Razorback fan, that you got to really keep an eye on here. Because with that in mind, Louisville is pretty much unanimously viewed as being the leaders, the favorites in the driver's seat here, whatever you want to call it. He's already visited there. He's a Kentucky kid. They're going to be tough to beat. Tay Kinney is literally visiting Kansas right now, or maybe he arrives today, but he's visiting them this weekend. That's another Adidas school and one of a couple others to keep an eye on who have a puncher's chance, I would say, in this recruitment. I would include Indiana, shocking, another Adidas school in that one as well. Arkansas, not an Adidas school, is absolutely in the picture here, though. They are. It's complicated for the reasons that we just mentioned, but like we just said, Tay Kinney, he's first of all, he's overtime elite, and we know the connections there. And I'm on repeat here a little bit, but that's okay. Think Carter Knox, think Malik Thomas, now Tay Kinney. You just got to get an overtime elite guy every year, I guess. But he's also a Kentucky kid who grew up with John Calipari in his backyard. He's a big Coach Cal guy. He visited Kentucky while John Calipari was there. So this is a relationship that's at least 2 years old now. And that matters. So there are things to like here with Arkansas, which is why many folks, including me, see the Hogs as maybe still the biggest potential threat to Louisville. I think it's pretty clear that Pat Kelsey and the boys are in the lead right now. But if I was to pick one that I thought had the best chance of stealing them away, right now I would probably say Arkansas, with an eye on those other Adidas schools. Putting ink on paper long-term with Adidas would probably squash any of that momentum, right? I believe at the moment here, feels like Texas, Oregon, Kentucky, Miami, that they might be kind of on the outside looking in compared to the other ones that we've talked about, even though he does have scheduled visits to Texas and Oregon, and he's already been to Kentucky. Arkansas has his last scheduled visit. So to me, if he makes it to that point and he shows up on campus the last weekend of September, you should know everything you need to know going in just about where he stands and what it would take to sway him away. Like, the NIL offers are what they are. The promises have been made, and you get to leave the last impression. And I don't hate that if it happens. And also for Arkansas, by that point, they should also know exactly where they stand with Jordan Smith Jr., Big Arafanjian, who have both visited by that point. Do you feel great enough to go all in on those guys? Do you feel like they're trending elsewhere and you maneuver some funds to a guy like Tay Kinney if you feel compelled to? This visit is happening at a good time, I think. If it happens, there's just a long time between now and then, though. If he quietly commits behind the scenes to Louisville and just wants to take his visits, I imagine his people would make a push to get his pot sweetened by either them or Adidas or both to keep him out of Fayetteville and keep him from taking some of these other visits. So does Arkansas have a shot here? Yes, I still believe that they certainly do, but it does admittedly feel like an increasingly uphill climb until or unless his boots physically hit the ground in Northwest Arkansas for a visit. So there you have it. Okay, final segment here on the Pod at the Palace before we hit the weekend. Also on Saturday, there won't be a Pod at the Palace episode on Saturday. Reason why is because we're releasing, what do we record? Like an hour and 45 minutes worth of our game-by-game football season predictions. So that's going to go out instead Saturday morning. So make sure you tune in for that. It was myself, Andrew, and John all went through that. It was a good time. Okay, I'm sure most of you saw that the SEC is now moving to a 9-game football schedule. Okay, like we knew that this was inevitable at some point once expansion came along. I don't know that Razorback fans are super thrilled about it because the odds are the league is just going to add Georgia or something to your annual slate. You still have to play a power conference opponent on top of that. It's going to be tough, but this is a basketball show. I want to know where you guys stand on this exact same topic on the hoop side. Because for now, the SEC is it's an 18-game league schedule, and it's been that way since 2012. Before that, it was 16. When the conference added Texas and Oklahoma, I think a lot of us felt like they would just naturally move up to 20, which sounds like a lot of league games, but the Big 12 plays 20 league games, the Big 10 plays 20, the Big East plays 20. The ACC did until they took 2 games away to encourage their teams to schedule more aggressively in the non-conference because the teams within their league suck. They're trying to boost the net rankings, but literally none of them have done it. All these ACC non-conference schedules are coming out, and it's like, dang, they didn't replace 2 league games with anybody better. This is insane. I think I'm torn on it with the SEC for a couple of reasons. I like having 18 conference games because it leaves you with 13 non-con games. It's just, that means more opportunities for some of these cool matchups, like playing Duke in Chicago or playing Houston at Barclays or playing Michigan at Madison Square Garden or, getting to play in Dallas, all these things. Going on the road to Michigan State, having more non-conference games lends itself to you being able to do more things like that. I think it's cool. It's unique. It's like a breath of fresh air, kind of. But you do still get stuck with a bunch of boring bye games that you don't fill the house for. And honestly, the fewer of those, the better for me. I feel differently about that than I do for football. We ain't ducking no smoke in basketball. Bring it on. We're ready. We're up for it. Adding 2 more league games, I would hope would not come at the expense of having a compelling and exciting non-conference schedule where you have nothing to get excited about until January or whatever. So that's part of why I wouldn't want it changed necessarily. But I will say, to me at least, it feels stupid and random and almost impossible to make fair this unbalanced schedule where you have 2 home and home opponents every year and then one that rotates in this 16-game league. Like, it's impossible to find balance. And so you see, like, we feel like Arkansas got taken care of a little bit this year, and they're probably lucky to have Missouri and LSU every year. And if you add one more, then who cares? You got 2 of well, LSU is certainly one of the easier teams in the league. Missouri's very manageable, right? Some of these other teams might not get that. Somebody might get Alabama, Auburn, and Florida or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's hard to, if you're going to crown a league champion and so much is predicated on your seeding in Nashville and your ability to win and get an auto bid, it's like you want as balanced of a schedule as possible. But, it's not the way the world works. So adding 2 more games, I think, could make this make a lot more sense to me. I don't know how excited the SEC teams are about playing, 2/3 of their games against this league that just got 14 teams into the dance. But like we said, we don't duck any smoke here at the Pod at the Palace. I'm all for it. You want to keep LSU and Missouri as home and homes? Fine. Add Kentucky to that list. If they expand the schedule, there's no justification whatsoever for Arkansas and Kentucky to not play twice every year. You have to do it. Keep the same ones. Add Kentucky. Now you have 3 opponents that are home and homes every single year. That's better than 2. And then you take the other 2 home and homes there and rotate them every year. That's what I would do. And would it be balanced? Would it be perfect? No. But would it get you a little bit closer to where it makes some sense? Yeah, I think it would. So overall, I would say I'm pro 20-game SEC schedule with the caveat that, like football, they just said, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to add this game, but you still got to get a power conference opponent. So for me, the caveat would be you still got to get so many of these cool non-conference games. That way I'm not wasting my time in November and December, and it doesn't get real until we get into league play. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Anyway, getting out of here for the day. Appreciate you guys, as always, for tuning in, tapping in. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, Inside Arkansas, make sure that you do that while you're here. It's free for you. Doesn't change anything for you, but it certainly does help us, and we would appreciate it. You can find us where you find your podcasts in audio form: Apple, Spotify, Amazon, anywhere that you listen. We'll be back after the weekend. It's been Curtis Wilkerson with Inside Arkansas on the Pod at the Palace. You guys enjoy yourselves. Football is almost here. The basketball talk will continue on Monday. We'll see you then.